Howdy folks, it's a Tall Turtle here and welcome to the next update video regarding my texture pack. And we're walking instead of flying for the intro because I'm in survival right now because there's a few things I need to show you in survival before we jump into creative. This is going to be hopefully the fastest, shortest update video ever because the next textures I'm going to do are going to take me a very, very long time. So I just wanted to kind of clear my palette, so to speak, and give you a quick rundown on a few things that I've done in between before I start the super complicated ones. Let's hop into first person here. First thing I'm going to do is I want to show you a bunch of GUIs, a bunch of graphical user interfaces. So ignore my washing machine in the background. It's actually distracting me a little bit. I apologize. Then anyway, first of all, I want to show you the recipe book. So this inventory texture, that's nothing new, but the book itself is, and if you open it up, everything is all smooth and high resolution and crisp. I did a high resolution magnifying glass. I was going to do a picture of my own glasses, but I like that magnifying glass better. So even though it's modeled after the default, it's high resolution. These the craftable and non-craftable boxes are all my own completely from scratch, including the little workbench there. There is a not unused at the moment interface with the blast furnace, so I took my own blast furnace textures. I'm going to show you in a moment. I use that for those, but otherwise this is all mine from scratch. Everything, this is mine from scratch, that's mine. It's all high resolution. I'm very excited about that. So that's very simple but very important. Something I was noticing when I was doing recipe stuff was driving me crazy that I hadn't done that yet, so I did, and there you go. Moving on, the GUI for furnaces. Actually, I'm going to show you my blast furnace texture, then I'm going to show you the GUI for it. So there's my blast furnace texture. Oh, I'm not in creative. Let me get back into creative. All right, back in creative. There we go. My blast furnace texture. I want to show you something before we do the other interfaces. There we go. So blast furnace. This is my blast furnace texture, including the bottom. Dark cement, light cement, and then like rusty cement, and then the iron plate that you put the stuff in. And then if you want to see it in action, it's actually very simple. It's just a bunch of coals burning in there, and then the smoke texture, or the generic texture it's called, that I made high resolution. But otherwise very simple, not nearly as dramatic as the smoker, but I still think it looks fine the way it is. So what I wanted to show you then is the GUI. So the GUI, or the interface, or the container it's called, it's the same for the blast furnace, the regular furnace, and the smoker. So I'm not going to show you all three because they're all three the same file. They're just named differently. So I smoothed out the flames, I smoothed out the blocks, I smoothed out the edges, and I smoothed out the arrow. And then if it's on fire, it's my own fire texture. It'll restart here in a moment. There we go. That's my own fire texture. And again, it's exactly the same for the blast furnace, and the smoker. So I don't need to show you all those. But there's that texture. Moving along, the GUI for the villager. I did this myself, so everything is, the objects are either from Redcraft or me, depending where the objects come from. But the arrows and the edges and everything is all high resolution. That's my contribution. Arrows are high resolution. So very simple, but you notice if it's not done, right? So there you go. Simple enough. I actually have another villager in here that I was going to block. Just to show you the differences, or how this changes, but the interface is the same. And I gave him a loom so that he would change his job. Let's quick fill this in. You don't need to see this stuff. I'm going to show you anyway. There we go. Moving along. Oh, those villagers are going to drive me crazy. The grindstone you've seen, but the interface I changed. Made it all high resolution with smooth edges and everything. I should change those highlight colors. That's something I could do. No, that's too much because it'll be green, and yeah, it's too much of a good thing. He's pushing me. But there's the arrow and everything. The stone cutter. I didn't have to do much to this other than to smooth out the edges and made it look 3D in the corners here. That was pretty simple. I have not made a cartography table yet. That'll be soon. But I did do the interface. Doing this map to make it high resolution took like 2 days. It's very frustrating. And whenever you build something, different textures pop over, which I've also done, which I'm not going to show you, just have to imagine. But again, high resolution, everything high resolution. High resolution meaning I take it from 16 blocks 128 and smooth out all the edges. So it still looks cartoonish because they don't have a picture of a piece of paper. I guess I could do a picture of a piece of paper. That'd be so much work. But for now, I just made the default high resolution. Same with the loom. Oh, this I did quite a bit more though. So here I did like the like brush silver for the palette because I just wanted to give it a shot, and then I smoothed out all the icons and smoothed out all the corners and everything. So again, very subtle, and it takes after the default because I don't want to stray too far from default. So it takes after the default, very subtle, but you would notice if it's not done, right? And let's see, moving along, we did the villager. Oh yeah, world textures and things. So now we're going to jump out, and actually let me do two more things in game. Then we're going to jump out. I'm going to show you some menus, even though it's going to show me my personal stuff, but I really don't care at this point. So berries, there's the berry item in my hand. That's my texture. You plant the berries. Looks like that for the stage 0. There's stage 1. There's that glint, right? The magic stuff. And there's stage 2. And then there's stage 0. Sorry, let's start over because it starts at 0 because, you know, computer programming language starts at 0. So there's 0. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. And then it should pop off. And then it comes back to 2, or it comes back to 1, and then you get the item. So there's 1, there's 2, 3, pops off. 1, 2, 3, pops off, right? Get that? So that's how that works. Those will grow on their own and pop off as it sits here. So that's stuff for textures. And yes, I'm going to add these to my to-do list. These are going to take a while, as are the other things. For example, I'm going to do bamboo scaffolding, the lantern. The lantern I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I thought I was going to do, but I don't know. The bell, that's going to be difficult. And a few others. So I wanted to show you this, like I said, before I get into those more challenging textures, because it's going to be a long time till the next update. So anyway, moving out of game now, let's go and quit. I wanted to show you some things. So first of all, the accessibility guy, I changed him a little bit. I had a picture of my cat, but it looked really awful. So I took the default texture guy, or accessibility texture, and I made him more human-like. I made him low round. Now he's pointing, and changed the colors a little bit. Because again, even though these are photoreal textures, or I just make the default more high resolution, I want everything to be similar to default as possible. So like that smoker and blast furnace, if you look at the default texture, that's a photorealization of the default texture, just like my spruce door, for example, right? And so if I can't get a photo that looks like the default, I'm just going to take the default and make it more high resolution. That's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing for like 2 years now. So this accessibility guy, I'm actually quite proud of him because every time I load the game, I have to see him, which I don't mind, of course, but I didn't like the blockiness going along with all this smooth stuff. Again, we've talked about this in 1.13, but if you haven't seen those videos, all of this is the font is from the RedCraft folder. It's a generic font. It's not that RedCraft owns the font. It's just a generic font from the RedCraft folder because I can't figure out how to do it. Plus, I would just use the same font anyway, same generic, font. So I'm just going to use what's already there. So the font I didn't put in, even though it's generic. The colors, though, and the background textures are all mine. The globe thing is mine. Accessibility guy is mine. I kept the default Minecraft Java edition because that's being too far from, the roots here. Trying to be somewhat purist, so I'm keeping that. This font comes from this font. Now, there's like hundreds and hundreds of these yellow sayings. I found the file and I put about 40 of my own in here, so you just have to get my texture pack and keep reloading the game for those surprises because it's random. The online trial thing icon for realms is mine. If you open this up, the mail is mine and the news is mine. The reason why I did this for realms is because normally when you're here, you get news and mail icons here as well. So now when you load the game, all this will be high resolution. And like I said, I do plan on figuring out how to do fonts and selecting a generic font and putting it in my folder. But like I said, this is a generic font comes from the RedCraft folder. So separate, but they complement each other even though they're separate. Colors are mine. If we go to single player world, these are all the worlds I've had. Look how long it's been. The arrows now are mine. I was using the RedCraft not piggybacking, just coming from that folder, but now I've separated. It's always been separate. Now I have my own arrows. Again, it's a realization of default. It's my own colors though. However, there is a glitch in Minecraft 1.14, and these older worlds, they're supposed to have an exclamation point to the left, that to warn you it's a different version. However, it's broken in 1.14 and it's not me, because even if I load the default Minecraft textures, the exclamation point is missing. So that is a bug. I'm going to put it in a bug report because I didn't see anybody report it yet, which is too bad too, because I'm very, very proud of my exclamation points and you don't get to see them yet. So anyway, that's what this screen is all about. If we go back and we go to multiplayer, I don't have a whole lot of servers that I play, just the Pulsars Junior one. These up, down arrows are mine as well. Even though they're the same looking icons, they're actually different textures. So you have to be careful and make sure you got continuity there. All right, then moving back, if we go to options and we go to resource packs, again, all these arrows are mine now. And again, it's a separate file. So you got to go and actually duplicate your graphics for continuity because they're different sizes and different files. So there you go. I think that is all I had to say, actually. Let's go back into game now. Let's just hang out with these villagers here, and they're probably going to look at me when I walk by. Yeah, nope, they want nothing to do with me. So hopefully you enjoyed the quick update video. Those of you who I'm sending regular updates to have already received the updates. Let me know if I forgot to send an update files to you. And I'm going to get working now on the more complicated textures. I'm really nervous because I want to do a decent job. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll update you when that update is ready. Until then, have fun, and I'll catch you next time.